Over the course of history in the world of One Piece, there have been three Joy Boys. The one from 900 years ago that fought the 20 Kings, the one from modern day that became Emperor of the Sea by taking down Kaido, and the hidden third one that we don't know anything about, but we did just learn about him in Elbaf. Now I'm about to dive into some Elbaf information. If you're not caught up with that, be careful. So during the last chapter of One Piece, we learned from Ja Rule that the world has been destroyed 2 times over already, to which we knew about one time. That's where Joy Boy fought the 20 Kings, and after this whole event, the world government took form. And we only know that the world was destroyed here because Joy Boy came from an ancient kingdom that is no longer here. And we know the world government has a weapon under their belt that allows them to wipe islands off the face of the map, including any ancient kingdoms that may have existed. Not to mention, every time they do this, they raise the world's ocean levels by 1 meter, which is why the world is currently on the verge of sinking. And I'm going to imagine that it has sunken before, because with places like the original Wano being underwater and Water 7, I can only imagine that this happens to a bunch of islands that we haven't even gone to. This might have happened to islands that we did go to. Maybe there's a deep down underwater Dressrosa that we have not seen before. Because with Wano, I know that the walls were raised up by Zunisha and then everything filled up with water over time. But this also doesn't change the fact that the world's oceans are raising a meter every time the world government wipes out an island. But what does that have to do with the third Joy Boy and where we should find him? Not only is this information good so we can have a timetable on where each Joy Boy came from, but it also helps us understand where we should be looking, because the island that this Joy Boy came from could be somewhere underwater. The Joy Boy from the ancient kingdom that fought the 20 Kings, his island's more than likely destroyed. And we know that Luffy comes from the East Blue Fuchsia village. So our hidden Joy Boy could be from an island that is somewhere far underwater or in the sky and we just can't reach it. Now, some of you might be wondering, why am I so confident there's a third Joy Boy? And that's because in the latest chapter of One Piece we end up learning more lore about Joy Boy. And this lore says that he usually pops up at the end of the world. So you never really know if he was there to save it or if he was there to cause its destruction. And before we got that, we learned that the world was already destroyed twice before. Meaning the first time this world was destroyed, which was probably around this time fighting the 20 ancient kings, the world ends up learning about this Joy Boy, and the people that were there on the scene probably saw that he showed up to save them. But if you were some random dude on a random island, you would probably hear about this dude and think he was the harbinger of the end. Because the first time you're hearing about him is when the world is ending. And now people are learning about this guy, the third Joy Boy, while we also got this world-ending catastrophe. So if there wasn't a lot of information about this Joy Boy, I think there's going to be even less about this one, because if the world at large wasn't sure if he was showing up to be a good guy or a bad guy, I have to assume one of these Joy Boys were a bad person. Clearly wasn't the one fighting the 20 Kings, because these guys became the world government and they are very evil. It definitely ain't Luffy, because he's the, liberation guy. So whoever this third sun god was had to have been the one that was actually a menace. This is the one that everybody fears. And it makes sense that one of the sun gods would end up that way, because the way that Loki acts seems to be the way that sun god could have been. He wants to reduce the world to rubble, and maybe that sun god did too. People have speculated that the first Joy Boy had to have been a giant. That was at least one of my speculations. But what if it was the second one that was? And while we don't know when he may have been active in the world, we do learn from Vegapunk that a meth is running around and stuff 200 years ago and nobody knew why. But we also know that Joy Boy is what makes this thing active. So I'm willing to bet somewhere 200 years ago is where this Joy Boy came into the picture. Meaning this is the one from the present, and this Joy Boy is from 900 years ago. And if Loki turns out to be a sun god or have some extra lineage of a sun god that used to be a giant, I think that will give us our answer. At the same time though, this is all a speculation, so what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. And I know TikTok is back, but if you can slide over to the red play button, it'd be a big help. I learned my lesson. I'm finna make that my main platform.